And I tell them now, show me this one, and then show me that one. You guys can have to offer.
Let's take
if they liked it.
True. Let's take a quick sec. You're breaking up a bit. Your camera's getting all glitchy and stuff.
Did I hit something?
So how'd you feel when she put it in your butt?
Jesus saves, baby. Jesus saves.
Bless. All right. Well, we're recording. We're live. Hopefully we don't die. Okay. We don't have an intro. We don't know what the fuck we're doing.
Welcome to Miamorii X Johnny Foxtrot.
Welcome to we're flipping the script. Ban interviews someone else. Fuck it, YOLO. Johnny here. Everyone that's watching this probably already know what Johnny is. Who Johnny is.
What Johnny?
What Johnny is. Johnny's a person, human. In fact.
Yeah, I think.
I'm a person who's not allowed to do gestures, apparently. So, they tell me my gestures to myself.
No gang signs today. Sorry, Johnny. Fuck.
I'll keep the gang signs to myself, but I'm still happy to be here with you guys.
Good. Okay.
I figured it would be kind of cool for us to get to know people that we interact with a lot, just better. I feel like Johnny was one of the first people that picked up any reaction stuff for us, any sort of outside anything that wasn't like my mom, type of shit.
Or my dad.
True. Your dad just texting us 3 a.m. for mix revisions. Hey, I think this crash is too loud. All right, Dad. I'll let him know.
Yeah, that happened a lot. But yeah, can I start out with a question? Because
we have no rules here. We have no idea what we're doing. So
okay, so true. I just remember on the video to Welcome to My Hell, Terry was the one that first commented on it, and he said, "Hey, I mentioned, I think he said he mentioned us to you, and he said he would love it if we came by one of the streams or whatever." So, like, does Terry tell you all the songs that he goes and scouts, or does he just wait, like, for the band to then come to you if they want to? Or does that make sense? Like,
for a lot of times, I think it's a little bit different for, I think, like, everybody who kind of mentions that kind of stuff to really any of the bands. I think they all kind of have their own, like, little individual, like, ways that they approach the situations. And I think Terry is one of those people that a lot of times just goes through, like, the comment section, where if there's any kind of, like, interest or reply back from the band, then a lot of times what he'll do is either, like, let me know, or, like, let somebody, like one of the mods on the channel a lot of times know, and say, "Hey, I mentioned it, this to this band. They said that they seemed interested in it." And then normally the mods would, like, give them more detailed information, maybe like in an email or something. But a lot of times I don't have a lot of the interaction with a lot of the artists. So when they pop into the live stream and there's been these whole back conversations that I have no idea about, like, it happens, like, all the time, where, like, somebody, like, "Oh, by the way, like, there's an artist in the chat, Johnny, and, like, we've been having a conversation for 6 months and they're finally here." Like, so it really just, I think it depends. But with Terry specifically, a lot of times, if there's interest in conversation that's happened, or especially with somebody like maybe like with your guys' self, I do remember, like, I think him reaching out on an individual level and saying, like, "Hey, like, they're interested in, like, showing up, like, would you play their stuff?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, if certain people trust me with, like, hey, like, if it's one of those things, you gotta, like, also know who's bringing you what information. You know what I mean? So, like, not everybody who said, "Hey, this person's interested." Like, we get trolled every once in a while too, right? So, it happened the other day where somebody pops in, they say they're an artist, and, like, "What is this video that we just watched?" You know what I mean? Like, it's like in those moments, like, what are you supposed to do? But Terry's one of those people that, like, when he brings, like, that kind of information to us, like, we take that for what that is, right? So Terry's definitely been one of the great members of the Foxtrot community that has brought plenty of artists to us, like I said, especially with you guys, right? Where it's just really cool to just like one see you guys even show up in the first place, and sometimes like because we get something like all the time, like randomly. I know I'm talking a lot at this point now to answer this
You're
question,
good.
but it's one of those things where like it gets mentioned a lot, but like the people actually showing up is another thing, right? So it most of the time it happens pretty organically, and I think that's like what you said at the beginning, where you're like, we don't have a script. Like, I think organic is the best. That's a lot of times how this happens, where it's like, I don't even know who you guys are when you pop in, and they're like, oh, by the way, Con Clicks is a drummer, you know what I mean? Like, so like, oh shit, okay. And it's like, okay, well, let's check them out, you know what I mean? And then like you never know like how good it's really going to be, right? So I think that's really the other thing too, is like we're always about trying to like push the positivity. And again, we don't get trolled a lot, you know what I mean? But when certain members bring certain like, hey, we talked to these people, it's then we're excited about it. Does that make sense? Like, so it's
Yeah.
already like been vetted a little bit, versus just like the random person on the internet that's like, hey, I'm an artist. Like, would you mind spinning this for me? And it's like, yeah, we got to probably do a little bit better job sometimes about just clicking on the video right away.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? So because now we're locked in at that point. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say when it's like, what even is this? It's like, what? Because like I feel like art's expressional, and sometimes you don't know what they're expressing. So
True. Very true. Especially with like a bunch of
I don't
filters and
always get
stuff
it.
now. Yeah.
I don't always get it. I don't always get it. But yeah, so the longest way to answer that question is it doesn't always happen the same way. It doesn't always happen. And most of the time, I'm not even the person that interacted with them. I have never invited anybody to a live stream personally. I've never asked an artist to ever show up on a live stream. Not a single time. Not an email, not a text message, nothing. So it's always somebody from my community. I've never asked anybody to ever come onto a live stream. I have the hardest time trying to, like you said, send this and click on this link for me. I can't do that. I can all day say, go click on this link for Rena, but don't ever do it for Johnny. You know what I'm saying? I'm not that guy, so I'm lucky that my community even does that for me.
Nice.
I
Okay,
put
that
a
makes sense.
I put a screenshot of his comment. Terry posted on the Welcome to My Hell video 6 months ago, and said, I'll put it up in post, but you guys can see it too. Would love it if you showed up for Reactor Friends Live. If I have an artist show up, they get requested a song for us to check out. Let me know if you want more details.
Yeah, and I remember I messaged Kyle with a screenshot of Terry's comment, and I said, should we do this, or should we look into it? And Kyle's like, yeah, why not? And because I'm still very like, everything to me is like, oh, it's a scam. Like I'm a boomer when it comes to the internet. Well, no, I guess a boomer would fall for every scam, but I'm like the opposite of a boomer, where I think everything is a scam, so I don't want to do it, I guess. And so I was like, Kyle, do we trust this? Should we try it out? Like, should I message back? Should I? And yeah,
Where do I send my social security number? I don't see the.
yeah. Wait, I haven't given him my card number yet. Should I? But
I think that's a better way to think, though.
Once you guys get on the live stream, we got to establish a little bit of trust first, and then we start asking for mom's.
yeah.
True. You get reeled in.
Childhood street that you grew up on, by the way. Okay.
What was the name of your first pet, by the way?
Bless.
Oh,
God bless. Yeah, Terry's
how
good.
did you? Yeah, he's been awesome. He literally, yeah, Terry's awesome. But how did you get into this? I don't think I've ever like. How did you decide to like? Oh, I think I'm gonna start streaming and reacting to music. Was it like how does that come about?
That's an excellent question. Because honestly, I don't know. It's one of those things that again, everything I think kind of happened organically that way, where when I first started my channel, it was because I didn't know much about the reacting community. The most of the reactions that I had ever seen in my life were to socially big events, typically. When it came to like I could just use an example of like last year, right? like the Drake versus Kendrick beef, right?
Yeah.
Something that where it's very popular. Everybody knows about this. So I was watching a couple of reactors to those kinds of concepts, right? Is the only kind of reaction stuff that I watched, period, like even before starting a channel. And so when I started a channel, my very first idea and concept was the idea of just playing music for that I didn't think that people were talking about. You know what I mean? Where I just didn't see a lot of that kind of information out in the world. If you want to go find information about Ronnie Radke, it's out there. If you want to go find information about Taylor Swift or let's see, Linkin Park, that information's out there. There's a million people talking about those bands and those artists because it's like the top of the rock news, if you will, right? So there's always going to be that kind of information and those kinds of things out there. There's going to be conglomerates that are going to be putting that kind of time and attention to that kind of stuff, right? But I didn't think there was a lot of people talking about, like, I just use one example, right? A random band that I love, Water Parks. You know what I mean? I felt like I don't feel like anybody knows who this band is, and I felt like they were awesome. I thought that they were interesting, and I've been in love with that band for a good 4 or 5 years now, right? I've never done a reaction on my channel to them, but like it was a concept and an idea, right? It's something with Dead Poet Society, right? I got them on my freaking wall right here, right? I was like, how does nobody fucking know who this band is? You know what I'm saying? Like, how are they not in the same level of conversation of every conversation that's going on about Linkin Park right now, right?
Yeah,
I feel like their music is, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say it's comparing is one thing, right? But in terms of like quality and like how I feel strongly about like what good music is, and especially like within the rock genre, I feel like they're a band that's incredibly like underrated in terms of like how much well known they should be, right? So especially like growing up in listening to as much music as I have, like, you know, I've listened to all kinds of genres. So I'm like, you know, I'm hearing all these amazing bands within like what people consider niche genres, you know what I mean? And nobody's really talking about them. So the very first thing that I ever did on my channel was I played an hour and a half like video that I had recorded of nothing but Dead Poet Society music and why I thought it was amazing. You know what I mean? I played one song and said, hey, this is why I think this song is great. I played another song and said, hey, this is why I think this one's great. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I just kept doing that kind of almost like a radio DJ. You know what I mean? And I put that out and I was like, this is so stupid. Nobody's going to ever fucking watch this. But I was so passionate about like just the idea and the concept of like, I can't be the only person out here that thinks this shit is amazing. You know what I mean? I know I'm not crazy. I know that this stuff is good. And if people who like this stuff would just hear it, they would like it too. You know what I mean? And so I kind of felt like the same way when it came to like just all these different artists. And it's just like, man, I just don't feel like all these people are like just not getting any near the attention that I feel like they deserve, right? There's a million people that, you know, and no shout out to no disrespect to any pop star or anything like that, but we'll just use Sabrina Carpenter as an example, right? There's so many people that I know who Sabrina Carpenter is, and I'm not saying that her music isn't amazing, but there's a lot of other people out there who are beyond Sabrina Carpenter of the world that are making just as great music or close to great music that I think people can love just as much. Does that make sense? I'm not saying that you can't like Sabrina Carpenter, but you should listen to the 10 other artists that kind of remind you of her too. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Instead of just so I feel like I've always been kind of the guy that's like, hey, I'm not saying that Drake isn't a great musician. You know what I mean? But we should listen to more than just Drake. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always been that for me, right? Where I get more excited about the idea of Miamorii dropping a new song than I do of the idea of a new album from Slipknot. And Slipknot's an amazing fucking band, and I love that fucking band. You know what I mean? But we know who they are already, friends. Like, we're going to check it out already in the first place. You know what I'm saying?
It's going to be
like,
on the scope anyway, so.
Exactly. If I feel like if all we're doing is consuming the same stuff that we already know and that we already love and have already come to love from the same artists, we're not expanding as people at all. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Where again, I'm not going to not check out the new Slipknot record, but I'm also want to listen to the 10 people that were inspired heavily by Slipknot. You know what I mean?
It's
and
less
like
of an echo chamber type of thing, yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, to answer this in the longest way possible, I had no idea what the hell I was doing when I first started. I've only been live streaming for a little over a year now. I started on my birthday last year, and my birthday's October 3rd. So I've been about 13 months of just the live streaming aspect. Before that, it was just figuring out what a reactor even was. And like I said, I was one of those guys where I'm like, I had 3 examples of people that I watched, and they were covering none of the same kind of stuff that I even covered. Does that make sense? It was
Yeah.
all just honestly like hip hop reactions to like shit that was going on in America. You know what I mean? So it was just like, you know, these very few specific people that I was watching where again, they're not even talking about the same kind of genres of music that I'm talking about and what they're looking at and what they're talking and dissecting and breaking down, complete polar opposite of what I feel like I even do. Right. So, I still feel like I'm still figuring it out, but I feel like, what I have found from starting my channel and a lot of trial and error and trying things is that what I've gotten the most, you know, I guess like satisfaction out of my channel has been watching the community grow and watching the community grow around a developing and emerging artist like Miamorii, right? Where when I see somebody go onto one of your guys's or another band's comment section and I see, hey, I know who you are because of Johnny Foxtrot's channel. That is like the thing that means so much to me. Does that make sense? And to see that, like, this even just one person be a diehard for the next band, you know what I mean? Like, and being a small part of that, it's all about that. It's all about the next person, right? It's not about the fact that like, it has nothing to do with me, but it has the fact that like if I can get a person from my community to fall in love with what you guys are creating and it means something to them, that I feel like that's giving back in a small way. Does that make sense? And I I feel like there's enough people out there just giving opinions about again mainstream things all day long, but why wouldn't we try to put people onto the next person that needs to hear that song, right? You know, like, you know, you guys just put up your recent song and video where I didn't cry in the video for the reaction, but god damn it, I wanted to. You know what I mean? Where on the wrong day that was going to get me. You know what I mean? And I feel like I don't get that from every Slipknot record. You know what I'm saying? I don't get that from that. You know what I mean? There's a degree of separation that I think that at a certain point they're just beyond like almost feeling relatable. Does that make sense? Where it's like your life is so much different than mine. How am I supposed to relate to what Corey Taylor writes about? Especially today, right? You know, again, on the come up, you know, those first couple albums, we all could maybe kind of feel some similarities and stuff like that. But I feel like that's what I find different in, I would say, more of these artists that are like on, again, more on the emerging side is so much more relatability to the everyday person. Does that make sense? Versus,
Yeah.
again, you know, someone like Corey Taylor, shout out to him. He deserves all the money and praise in the world, right? Because he's been there and he's that legend now. But I'm not going to relate to the same thing that you're writing about today than I was when we were kind of in more similar places in our lives. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's a different bracket. Yeah.
Right. So the of course the does it make the guitars any better? Does it make the drums any much more sick? I mean, yeah, all that stuff is always going to slap. But in terms of like, I'm always a lyric guy, so that's always kind of the stuff that I've always been more drawn to. Is like, what are the stories that we're telling here? You know what I mean? Like, do I feel something when I listen to it? And I feel like that's where the community itself has been emerging a lot in terms of like that's what the Foxtrot family is people that feel music. Does that make sense? Where it's like, you know, we find the beauty in it even if people don't always see it. Does that make sense? And I feel like
Yeah.
it's about just trying to get the next person that needs to hear that song. And I feel like that's kind of slowly what my channel has turned into. You know what I mean? It started off with an idea of like people aren't talking enough about this music into like now it's we try to more specialize on trying to show love and support to like that next band, that next artist, that so that way the next person that's going to fall in love with them falls in love with them. So
That's so sick.
the longest way to answer that question again, Rena, but you know,
Hey, the more talking you do, the less I have to do. So, you know, double checks in my book. As far as how you get song submissions and stuff, is there like you just have your Discord people put in, you just kind of scroll through the Discord, or is there you have like a spreadsheet or something, or like how do you organize what you're gonna react to?
That's honestly, it's that's still kind of like in a development phase, if you will. We're kind of always in in that business mindset of like nothing is ever perfect, so it's how do we always make something better? And I feel like the live stream and even just how we go about reactions and when we go about reactions and all of that is still kind of a fluid system, right? But where we are currently today, what we have emerged into has been basically a lot of what we do is on, especially on Sundays and Wednesdays. We have um we use the Discord for as this open ability to, hey, highlight and showcase this song, this band, whatever. It's like, hey, I found this. They only have 2,000 subs, whatever. Like, they're maybe newer. This band's out of whatever area for whatever reason. You just came across it, whatever. But I feel like we need to share it with the rest of the group, right? Goes on the Discord, ends up getting put on a playlist, and basically we just kind of have a pot of a playlist that we use, and the reactions, particularly that we like record, do intros, do an outro, make sure that we do a dedicated like lyrical breakdown, like we'll talk about the aspects of the music video, the song structure, all that kinds of stuff. Where I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give you my opinion about all of it. Like we'll try to tick it all and turn it into a reaction. That kind of gets more saved for like the patrons of the world, and maybe if an artist sometimes specifically they'll reach out, maybe either via email or a DM or something like that. Hey, saw your channel, would love it. Maybe you do a reaction. We add that kind of off to the side, and then like any kind of donations, right? It's kind of like the paid request is what we do, like those particular reactions. But the good majority of what we do on the stream is just boosting and pushing. You know what I mean? Where it's like, we're going to listen to this song. It doesn't matter if I like it because 3 people on my stream might absolutely love this shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm trying to get a little bit better about the country music stuff, right? Because it's not about, you know what I mean? If y'all find some great new country emerging artist over here, I got to let my community put the other people in my community onto that kind of music without it being, well, Johnny hates country. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I don't have to like it. And that's kind of more the point. It's like, I don't have to like every song that gets played on my channel in order for somebody else to enjoy it. Does that make sense?
Sure.
So that's why I try to keep a lot more of my opinions to myself in terms of it's not about what my opinion of this is if it's the next person that heard it just found it.
True.
Does that make sense? So it's about trying to show some love to their algorithm. And if I personally like it that much, then I take my little side note. You know what I mean? I'm gonna throw you in my playlist over here. I'm gonna write Miamorii's name down because they seemed a little bit more a cut up the rest. You know what I mean? So it's like that kind of stuff, right? Where it's like, how much do they really catch my attention that way? And but
You ever listen
yeah,
to Bill Murray?
and honestly, I don't hate it. I don't hate it because it is very country reminiscent, and I feel like it hits more in like that country mainstream genre than anything, and they slap a little metal over top of it,
Basically,
right?
yeah.
So it's not it pretty much sounds like anything that would be on country radio with a little like breakdown. It's kind of what it sounds like to me. And again, that's more like it's not really my bag, but I don't actually hate what they're doing. I feel like it is he is kind of like, or that group particularly is kind of one of the more like the pioneers of the concept. So I feel like that also always has to be kind of like saluted, right? If you're the
True,
first to
yeah.
kind of do it, I gotta give you the hat. Like, okay, I see what you did
If
there.
you're
I see what you did
spearheading
there.
stuff. He
Attack. I see it. I see it. So,
blast attack.
you know,
He tweeted out
uh,
or tweeted he posted image of him there. They just like recorded or recording the new shit, and it's like dude from Bad Omens, the vocalist from A Day to Remember, like people like that are just in the background, just hanging out. So I'm wondering if he's still going to continue the the country twang on stuff, or if he's like gonna fuck with some more stuff. His first like he puts out like an album a year. He just creates. He has probably hundreds and hundreds of songs he's sitting on that are just done. But his first couple of albums were very soft, very not anything like this, and then he put out some meme shit because he spent a lot of money on a couple of music videos and they didn't do well, and then he found out that like, oh, if I just record a music video on my phone and just make memes, people love that shit. And then so he started doing that stuff, and yeah, and so all of his music videos from like the last album were just him with his like phone, his buddy or whatever the fuck, just like memeing, like mowing his lawn and stuff, and
The
just
one where
recording
they
music
found the
videos.
deer
Stuff that I've seen him
Yeah,
do is
fence.
like him cutting grass. You know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
Where it's like when you tie that together with like the idea of like the country music, I was like, I don't necessarily think that it all kind of does work. Does it make sense? Where like
Yeah.
it all makes sense why it's in the same bowl together. Does that make sense? So, yeah, because that's the thing is honestly, when it comes to the music video side of the house, unless you're gonna like tell a story, like honestly, a lyric video and just a couple of effects is almost just as impactful in a lot of ways. Just, you know what I mean?
True. The aesthetics
It's
nowadays, I feel
expensive.
like, are very like um less on the nose about what's happening in some of these videos, and just kind of like you get to watch us walk around, or you get to, we'll have some slow mo shots or some shots of the plane, which is still cool, but I feel like it's less about, hey, we have this track, let's make a music video for the track. It's like, okay, we have to check these boxes. So let's just go book some time with a videographer and just do random shit and then put it out. At least I don't know. At least with the stuff I've been seeing for the last year or so, 2 years. There's a couple of ones that are bangers that are like right on the nose, but I feel like it's less and less. But I don't know. We'll see. And then you have like people like Sleep Token that do the fucking like Blender videos where it's just not even anything, not even live stuff. It's just kind of like a weird mix between a lyric video and a music video where it's unique to itself, but it's kind of just static in a way. Visualizer, I guess, would be a better term for it. So we'll see.
Yeah, the day and age of a visualizer. Like I said, music videos are expensive. They've kind of always been expensive, and I feel like a video is an investment. So again, when it comes to like the reaction side of the house, right? I understand that where it's like if you're gonna pay money to create a video, then we should probably at least talk a little bit about what we created here, somewhat, right? Especially if we're going to go create a whole thing to put out here and try to promote, this particular artist.
True. Some
We
of the
got to talk.
metrics when you're releasing a song, like one of the metrics nowadays, like standardized, like this is what you need to do for it to do better, is just a video of some sort. Like if it's a music video, a visualizer, a lyric video, whatever. Like if it's just a static image with like the audio waveforms and stuff, anything, your song will statistically do better if you have some sort of visual something with it as well. I guess it goes with along with like TikTok, pushing on TikTok, algorithms on YouTube and stuff for music, like things like that. Just discoverability, I guess too. But that's like kind of the standard now is if you're putting out a track, there has to be some sort of visual element with it, or it will do worse. I mean, you can even just look at like our song so far. Like we didn't put out anything for Splinters, and that's our worst track by far. I think it has like 2 or 3K plays on Spotify, and it's just always at the bottom of the list because we didn't put out a visualizer, we didn't put out anything like that. We promoted it the same. We still put out like TikToks and stuff about it and posts about it, but we didn't get any like direct hate either. People are like, I like your other stuff better, or whatever. Like people were like, oh, this is fucking sick. What the hell? You kind of do some slammy shit. What the fuck? But then just didn't listen to it again. I guess I don't know, or I guess this the discoverability wasn't better, wasn't as good as some of the other tracks. So we'll see. We'll fucking see. What do you use for your donation stuff for live things if people want to request?
Typically, I just basically use kind of whatever anybody wants to use, but I typically use the buy me a coffee thing, and I use it as in people buy me soap.
I was just gonna say, isn't it soap?
Fuck yeah. Hell yeah.
It's definitely the soap. So like if you go to and make a donation to the channel and try to get a request in, like it'll ask you for how many bars of soap you want to purchase for the channel.
That's so
Um,
fucking
which
good.
is everything that we do on the channel has like come from something like essentially from the channel. So like the soap thing all came from a comment where somebody had just said, hey, I love your content, but I wish you'd bathe. And it's like, what are you talking about? I was like, I definitely had my period and my rough time where like, I was kind of going through it, mentally and whatnot. And I'm like, I look back on some of those videos. I was like, damn, I really was not taking care of myself getting on a lot of these cameras. And I think the video, particularly that it came from, I was like, what exactly is she talking about in that one? You know what I mean? Where I was like, I'm like,
how the fuck can she smell me? What the fuck? That's so funny.
Oh man. But yeah, I took I'm one of those people that every time I get like the random or even like definitely the hate comment, if you leave me a hate comment, it's probably going in the Discord. It's like,
true.
I gotta get the rest of the community's opinion on like, is there any validity to this, guys? Like, am I really this
valid or no? Yeah, we haven't gotten a lot of hate at all. I think there's only been like 2 comments like that we've seen that were like, one of them was recently was like, oh, this is just AI music. I was just like, oh, fucking huh? We have a mix breakdown of the track on the YouTube. Like we go through how we wrote it. Like, huh? And then there was one that was like, oh, this riff is just a rip off of some song from 40 years ago or some shit, where it was like they used the same tuning. Wasn't even kind of close. It's like, whatever. I wish we would get like cool hate. Like if people hated us, I wish they'd be like, fuck you. Eat a dick. And I'm like, yes, we can fight on the internet. Fuck yeah. But no.
Yeah, there's been a few random ones, and a lot of times it has to do with the hives of that particular person. Like you never really know, right? Because I don't put any kind of limitations on like reaction requests, right? So if you want me to do a reaction to, I don't know, a video from, I don't know, Prince from 30 fucking years ago, that, I don't care. It doesn't have to be anything specific. It's whatever anybody really wants, right? So I've gotten some random stuff, and you never know which artist you're gonna like take a fan base over. Like where you're like, all of a sudden you say one thing about it, and all of a sudden they're like, fuck you, bro. Yeah. Fuck you, don't ever come back here. Don't you ever talk about them again. You know what I mean?
Didn't that happen with Florence and the Machine?
My bad.
Didn't that happen with Florence and the Machine?
My first Florence and the Machine one, man. Oh my God. The first couple that I did. And it's funny because I just did a reaction to Everybody Scream on my Halloween stream. Put that reaction out. That percentile of the thumbs down, baby, almost immediately. It was like, nope. I don't know if it's like a specific couple of people that are like, every time he posts Florence, don't talk about her. Like, you know what I mean? But it's like every single time. But yes, Florence initially, and I think that what was so interesting about the Florence one too was because I think I had given my entire backstory of like what my relationship with Florence and the Machine was, where it was, this has always been like my sister's artist. She's always loved her. Like from the time that I ever knew who Florence and the Machine was, my sister was like, yo, she is the one. She's the one, yo. And so I kind of always let my sister have that. So I'm like, I don't want to have an opinion about who my sister, like, this is like kind of like her thing, right? So always just like, okay, that's like my sister's thing, right? Get that entire story. And they were still like, you know what, dude? You don't like her enough, motherfucker. Like, you should.
One video? Huh?
You didn't say enough positive shit about her. Because I haven't talked any shade, no hate, no nothing. All I said was that I didn't like the dog days were over because I thought it was a little overplayed. I heard it everywhere. I live in America, and America outplays stuff. You know what I'm saying? And when that song came out, that song was, you couldn't go anywhere without hearing. And I was like, and so it's like any song that's like that, I'm sorry. I can't do it. I can't do it. But they're like, no, that's the greatest song that has ever been written, Johnny. Like, ever talk about music again. You clearly know nothing about anything that ever existed. Some people are incredibly entitled on the internet. And that's what, again, like you were saying, you guys will get there. Well, you'll start getting all these people like extremely entitled that all of a sudden tell you that you don't know anything about music, even though you're the one creating it. And they don't even create music, but y'all don't know nothing about it. You know what I mean?
I love that shit. I love getting comments like that and just indulging them. Like it's just
Well,
it's so funny to see people. There was a comment on like a TikTok video or something that was just like, "Ew, you guys are bad." And then like I responded as Miamorii and was like, "Yeah, I fucking hate these pieces of shit. Like they're so bad." And then they were just it just caught them off guard and they were just like question marks or something and responded back. It was a while ago. I was just like, people just they don't think that like people will respond, I guess, or they'll like start shit. Like I don't know what they want with some of the comments. Like having a thought out opinion on something, either way, completely fine. But just I feel like low bearing fruit hate is just boring. Like if you don't like something, why go through the effort to like talk about it then? Like why post and be like, I fucking hate this track. This is
there,
dog shit. This other band
there,
way better. It's like you could have just not.
yeah,
I'm gonna
there is that
respond. I
time.
love that shit. Fuck yeah, keep it coming. But like, But on the opposite side, when people love it, it makes more sense to me when people are like, "This is really cool. This is impactful. This blah 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 blah" type of shit. Like, okay, I feel like I don't. Maybe it's just a society thing too. Because if you really hate something or really love something, that's kind of the two categories that I'd rather be in. Like, so I told them forever ago. I'm like, if we put out content, we put out music, and we don't get comments one way or the other, like we want someone to either fucking love us or absolutely hate us. We don't want like meh. Like that's like the worst spot to be in because then there's no engagement, there's no fucking, there's no emotion at all from either one side or the other. But I feel like a lot of people that do dislike us so far have been just like boring dislikes. There hasn't been like any cool haters. This has all just been very boring shit. This sounds like AI. Huh?
That's just the new diss now. Is just
Yeah,
to
it's
say
true.
that
Yeah. Oh, he's just fucking AI.
it's like the new diss is basically saying, "Oh, that's just AI."
Oh,
So
I bet those people are also listening to those AI bands, not realizing that they're AI bands, and they're like,
True.
"Oh, this shit is the fucking shit," and
True.
it's an AI.
yeah,
Fuck. Oh.
somebody asked me about that the other day. They said because they had sent me a request, and from a trusted source here, I went back to them and I said, "Hey, dog, I ended up doing that reaction. Once we looked into it, we found out this was fully AI." And they gave me a whole spiel about like, is AI. I was like, listen, it's not about whether it's not about AI. For me, it's about supporting the the breathing people, not our creations. So our creations created, I get it. I'm not here to say that one way or the other, but at the end of the day, like I'm not looking to react to AI music. I'm looking to react to people with flesh and blood that created something, not necessarily our creations. You know what I mean? It goes back to that whole conversation of like, if I'm not going to listen to new Linkin Park music, why the fuck would I want to listen to a computer?
Yeah,
You know,
true. Very true.
like it doesn't make any sense to me.
Very true. I still feel bad for like using Splice. We don't really use Splice for anything melodic. I've used Splice in our tracks for some of the folly stuff. Like in Splinters, there's cicadas at the beginning and like bird sounds, and that's mixed in, and that was a Splice sample. And then sometimes for some drops like 808s and stuff, we'll get Splice samples. But that's about or cave ambience. I got some folly cave ambience for Illuminate Me during that lull before the last chorus. It was just like a couple of random I'm in a cave and I'm recording splice samples that I just stacked and mixed together to sound creepy. But we haven't done any melodic things, and I like feel bad. I feel like that would be like us doing AI in a way. Like I know it's not AI; it's actual people making things and then selling them. But in the same way, it's like I feel like it's a little bit of a cop out. So I don't think we'll ever rely on anything like that. For any of our stuff. It's still a useful tool in different genres. I know like hip hop and different trap stuff, like you can flip samples and do very cool things with that stuff. And I think it's very helpful, very cool to do. But for like rocky metal-y stuff, I feel like it's quite boring if you can just go grab like a synth melody and like the key and the tempo already set. You just copy and paste it in. You're like, okay, this is dope. Like, cool. I mean, if you find it, then cool, recreate it or like do something, like make it yourself or some
Like
shit. Put some of yourself
like
into
we
it instead of just copy and pasting shit.
like you did with the Spacey, the one we're working on, where we found that da 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 da
Oh yeah,
da
we did.
da,
We found
and then you took that out and built it in or whatever.
a
That's cool.
vocal melody. I tried to put a meme in when we were in Michigan 6 months ago. We were recording stuff on one of the new
Cam hated
tracks
it.
we did. I was just throwing in random meme sounds, and we found this vocal melody that we put in, and I was like, actually, this kind of slap. And so we rebuilt it. We put it on like marimbas or something, and we changed it up and we made it fit better and stuff. So it's not like a copy and paste one to one. Hey, we just changed the sound. We took that as like inspiration and built off of that. And I don't feel bad about doing that because I feel like we took something for inspiration and then changed it. We didn't even like use the actual sample. We were just like, okay, this is the rhythm. And then we kind of just took the rhythm and then rebuilt it and changed the notes and changed different stuff for it in there. I think that's fine. 'Cause that's just kind of like hearing a song and then being like, oh, I want to do like a breakdown like this. And then just kind of recreating it and then swapping or changing whatever the fuck. Like that kind of thing. I feel like that's still in the realm of fine. Like I'm like okay with a lot of AI stuff, depending, but I think my hard line is just being like copy and paste, basically. Like if I put in something like an image, I'm like, hey, create me a fucking thick Latina girl. I'm like sick. And I copy and paste that to Imager and be like, hey, look at my new girlfriend. Like, what the fuck, brother? Like type of shit. Or like, hey, look at my new car. Or like, oh, I'm a digital artist. Let me show you some of my creations. It's all just mid journey prompts, like copied and pasted over, like not even touched in any other program. I'm like, this is fucking stupid. This is dumb as hell. Or like go to Suno
Yeah.
and be like, okay, I will admit this. On your birthday stream, that video that we did for you, that track at the very end was an AI track. But I wasn't about to create a 10-second fucking mumba thing for a meme. So I was like, this will be okay.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I was having a conversation with somebody the other day where I think that because we're pushing in such a direction of so much influence and so many um AI generated things where content that we're consuming is a lot of computer generated things where I think the people are going to crave the real. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Where
the
when
pendulum
they're seeing
swings.
nothing but this, they're going to want something that is very like tangible that they can feel and see something. And I feel like that's again where you can't create the feeling even though you can kind of replicate it. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
And I feel like that's the difference between why we can connect with Miamori's music, but we can't connect with the AI band over here, is because their soul is missing. And it's not just because the computer is making it, but but seriously, like there's that human part of it where like you're feeling the real, you're feeling this is somebody's words. This is somebody or a collective's words here. Is that you can feel those things, and I'm like, that's the kind of stuff where it's kind of hard to really explain it. But I think that again, as human beings, I think that we know the difference, and we can sense that a lot of times. Where yes, we can get emotional responses from things that are AI generated. But is it really going to mean the same? Not really a lot of time because there's going to have to be some sort of connection to it. It goes back to what you were talking about with Miamorii, right? Where it's like, we would rather you love us or hate us because we want a strong feeling. We don't want oh, they're okay. You know what I mean? We want a
yeah.
strong feeling. And I feel like AI is just nothing but, oh,
Man,
they're okay. It's
yeah.
all the in the middle. There's no strong
Yeah.
feeling one way or the other.
Like use
I get
use it
that.
for a tool, but don't make it your whole product. Don't make it your whole thing type of shit. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. I put a link in chat. This is a site that I found. There's a couple of I should say more than a couple. There's a bunch of TikTok live React people that use this. on their streams. It's pretty fucking cool. I might do some live soon. Might just fucking meme around, see if it works, see if it's a thing. I'll probably use this. It just seems like a very easy way to create lists to have people submit things that's automated and you don't have to worry about it. So what it does is that you have the link, they click on the link, it pops up a thing that says, "Hey, what's the name of the band? What's the link? What's your name?" Like all that kind of shit, and then you can submit it. And then if you pay money, then it goes to the top of the list automatically, type of thing. And you don't have to like
That's
manually do shit.
what I'm saying, bro. That's why I call myself the worst YouTuber that there is. I need to change it to streamer because I don't do no market research. I don't do no. I should spend at least a couple hours a week looking at ways to improve my streams. I think about it all day long, but I don't do any of the actual research to do that. So when you drop something like this in my lap, I get all excited because I'm like, oh shit, I knew there was stuff out here like this, but I'm like, it's always a lot of times like knowing like where to go, right? Where everybody kind of also has an opinion too about how they do their thing, but it's like, how do I just make it simple where it's like again, where it all just kind of happens all on its own this way versus I've been trying to make things easier for my mods on my channel. Like one, right? So the way that we even do we moved to Twitch specifically, so we didn't have to look up who owned the music to that particular song, so that way it wouldn't get the stream shut down. So that's why we pretty much exclusively live stream on Twitch now, is we don't have as much copyright problems with being on the live. Now, when you go to watch the playback later, they'll mute the songs a lot of times, but
If it's for the
copyright
live, it's for the live, yeah.
is a pain. So, but at least it doesn't interrupt the specific live that it's when it's happening. So, YouTube's kind of a pain for that. They should probably switch that up, They should switch it up. YouTube used to be the GOAT. The YouTube, I'm over here talking shit now.
We can cut this out.
Get the shit together, YouTube. Come on now.
I've heard a ton of people. Yeah. I've heard a ton of people complain about
the music, I think, more than YouTube anything. So,
sure. What were you saying, Rita?
Oh, I've heard a ton of like streamers and stuff talk about YouTube and just YouTubers in general be like how they crack down a lot on stuff about stupid stuff for dumb reasons and stuff, but I don't know.
I have random videos on I did streaming, like game streams and stuff for a while. And there's like random fucking Valorant highlight meme videos and stuff. And I'll get like a email every couple weeks that's like, "Hey, we took down your video for fucking acts of violence or some shit, like some crazy stuff." And I'm like, what are you talking about? I click on it and it's like a 2-second clip of like fucking someone over the mic yelling some shit. And they're like, "Okay, we just took your whole video down." It's been up for like 4 years now, but
now we're taking it down.
I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool, whatever."
Johnny, how do you keep, like, if you are streaming and somebody requests a song and you start playing it and you're immediately like, I fucking hate this song. How do you keep that from showing? Because I've watched a few of your streams and you always are like, yeah. You're like, yeah, it wasn't quite what I would listen to, but yeah, that's good. Like, I don't
He just
think
has
I
a
could do
switch
that.
under the camera and he's just like playing fucking Zelda or something.
Yeah.
Fucking
I would be like,
mentally
oh,
AFK.
this is fucking horrible. I think you could read it in my facial expression, and I don't know. How do you keep that in?
I've gotten this one a couple of times, never in an official capacity like this, but there's been a few people who ask, like, how do you deal with the ones that you don't like? And I feel like that the best way to kind of answer that is kind of going back to what I was saying a little bit earlier about just it's not about whether I like it or not. You know what I mean? Where if I don't like it, I try to not show that because
Influence others' decisions. Yeah.
I don't want to exactly. I don't want to influence how you might feel about it. Now, if you're on the fence, that's obviously what my job is. My job is if you're on the fence, I should hype this up enough that maybe you might feel more strongly about it because now we're hyping on the hype fence. So it is a little difficult to try to find some of that hype and stuff when you don't really like it that much. So I think that's honestly the difficult part of it, right? Is for me, I think it's all about trying to have the right mindset going into it. And for me, what I have found after a lot of practice and a lot of trial and error, I feel like what I have found today is to try to just look at what the positive is. There's always something positive. Just don't worry about the negatives. You know what I mean? Because like you were saying before, like why point out the negatives? Unless it's like a huge pitfall where you're like, okay, now we got to tell them why this is bad and why they shouldn't have done that. You know what I mean?
I'd rather people do that. Be like, if you don't like a track, explain why, so we can at least get the perspective of why you don't like something. Like if that guy was just like, hey, this sounds like AI. Why does it sound like AI? Like what is it? The melodies? Is it the mix? Is it the emotion? Is it the feeling? Or is it like you're just dumb? Like what is it? What is the reason? Like
This sounds like AI because I'm dumb.
perfect. Valid. Check mark. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Come again.
But you do a good job at that, I've noticed, because like there's been some songs that I'm just like, this is god awful, and I couldn't sit here and listen to this whole song. I mean, I do because I still watch the stream, but like, I'm like, if this was my stream, I'd be like, but then, because like people can pay to request, but do people always have to pay to request? I guess I don't know.
No,
Yeah.
and that's kind of why we do it the way that we do it is because if you pay for a request, I'm trying to provide the necessary, I guess, like more like of a service to that particular,
You're like,
right?
okay.
So that's where, again, we're going to give you an intro. We're going to make sure that
Yeah.
we thank the person for the request and we go through this of like, all right, let's find out about who the artist is, find out where they're from in the world. Let's make sure that we like, if they have the lyrics there, let's read through them. Let's talk about the lyrics here. Let's talk
Okay.
about the song specifically. Let's talk about everything that we witnessed here because that was for a paid reaction.
Right.
Now, again, not every request that gets played on the stream is paid for. So all those free ones, it's more or less like if there's more to say, I say more. But if there's not, we just gotta keep it moving because it's about
You're not obligated. Yeah. If you want a more
Yeah.
in-depth thing, then
obligated to like now you didn't pay for that. So that's what makes it easier for me is because like when I was going back through this process of like every single one was a reaction, it's hard to find 10 minutes of conversation around every 3-minute song when there's not a lot to say there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
sure.
But if you more limit it to like, okay, if they only got 300 subs, but they still wanted that donation and they paid for that reaction, let's give them what they asked for. You know what I mean? Let's try to prop this band up because obviously that person liked it that much more that they're willing to put money behind it, right? So
Yeah.
I think you'll like it that much more. Let's make sure we give them that attention.
Don't
Oh,
touch
yeah.
the metal.
What did I do? Oh no. I can see it. I can see how I'm like moving weird.
It seems to be better.
I was gonna say it's back on now. For a little bit, your voice was ahead of the camera, but it's back on now.
I'm sorry if I'm talking too much, guys. I feel like I'm
No,
talking a
hell no.
lot.
You're making our
this-
job super easy. This is gonna be like, I'm just gonna take our cameras and make them really small and just put you in the front. Be like, all right, beautiful,
highlight. Yeah.
beautiful. Fuck yeah. Okay, I think we're good. Should be good. What I remember. Okay, two things. One thing, I remember you seeing a couple different reactions. I don't remember if it was live or if it was a video itself, but you at the end being like, "That's not really my thing, but maybe you guys will like it." Those kind of types of comments too. So I think that also helps alleviate between influencing people's decisions because then you can just like on the nose be like, I don't like this, but maybe you would give this a shot type of thing. So I think that's helpful too for people that are on the fence. So they're not just copy and pasting your opinion over type of thing. I think that's what makes your channel a bit different too, because there's a couple other friends or people that we've done reactions with, and it's all. I feel like it's always a mixed bag when you have
It doesn't
somebody.
feel like as genuine, I guess.
True, there's a couple that we've seen that are, you can kind of tell that they're into it, and you can kind of tell that, or you can kind of tell that it's just like a grind for them. Like they're just doing it to do it. They're just checking boxes, and they're like just a puppet type of. Thanks, guys, for hanging out. We're gonna check out this track. Oh, that was so cool. Like and subscribe. And I'm like, why the fuck? You just played the song and then left. Like, what the fuck you mean? Type of
And that
things.
that's one of those things where it's discouraging for me on my side of the fence, right? Where it's like sometimes I'll click on some of these. Yeah, I guess that's why I don't like watching other reactors because I'm like it's starting to making me depressed because it's like what am I doing wrong when all these guys are saying is oh yeah hey guys like hey this is a song play it that was a song make sure you do the right thing thumbs up on my video make sure you join my Patreon and then all of a sudden like these guys got like
Like a thousand and
hundreds of
thousand.
thousands of
Yeah.
viewers. It's like why are people watching those videos when I feel like I'm trying to say something and I'm trying to do something, but so like you said, like it's one of those things for me as this is why I don't like to watch other people, and that's why I tell people don't compare yourself to anybody else because it'll only depress you. It'll only depress you if you start comparing yourself to everybody else. Because as soon as I do, I'm like, these fuckers don't say shit. You know what I mean? Like, they don't say anything ever. They got all these subscribers.
His mic
We're
peeking is
clipping
probably
the
the favorite
mic.
part. That's
I love
so
it.
good. I think there's been a
Oh.
couple of those situations that I've seen where they built their channel off of either different content or more in-depth content. And then either recently or just their default bread and butter are kind of those types of videos where it's like it's just to have stuff to upload. Like they're not putting effort in. They're just like checking the boxes or whatever, but then they have like their heavy hitter type of thing. I feel like I've seen a couple of those, and those make more sense. Still frustrating, but make a bit more sense. But then you have those channels that just do nothing but that, and it's just like how are you getting views when you're just playing the song and then leaving? Like it's like there's no extra anything. There's like no react to like the whole point is to be like, hey, this is my opinion on it. This is what I feel like. This is blah blah blah. This is what anything like that. So we had a guy, I don't remember his name. He probably one of the more unique setups I've seen where he would go live for each of his reaction and then save the live video for on his channel or whatever. So if you go to his channel, there's like one video, but then you have to click on the live tab and then there's just like thousands of like reaction videos, but it's kind of that kind of situation where it was just he'd listen to the song and then be like, "Okay, guys, that was my reaction. Thanks." And then like end the live. I'm like, this is probably the more the most unique thing I've seen as far as like I don't know if it's good or bad. Like I don't know if it's doing well for him or not. But I was just like, I've never seen someone do that before, where they're just like, we're gonna go live stream, and then
Yeah,
like not have a chat or not interact with chat or not do any of that, but just
because
yeah.
I joined one of those live streams as the band Miamorii because I thought he was gonna be doing our song because it was like this. They said what time it was gonna be, and so I made sure I was on as Miamorii, and I was like, as soon as he went live, I was like, hey, in the chat, and he didn't respond, and then he didn't even. It wasn't even our song, and I was like, oh, maybe I got the wrong day, and then he ended the live, and I was like, what the fuck? And then
What
I
the
went
fuck
to
is
his
that?
channel and realized that he does a live for every song, but I couldn't stay on because I had to leave to pick up my son from schools. So it was just funny. That's a very interesting way of doing it.
He's a cool dude, but
Uh,
yeah, just weird format to do. But if it's working
Yeah,
for him, it's working for him.
I've had a couple people thank me for just even talking to the chat because I guess a lot of people out there don't even really engage that much with the chat. And I was like, that seems kind of odd that people wouldn't do that more.
yeah.
I guess there are some people out there that really don't ever talk to the chat, which is to me seems wild. Why be live if you're not going to engage with them at any point or at least periodically or something?
I I've been on a couple of those where you go on and they're doing like whatever their react thing for the day or whatever, and chat's going, but then they never talk to chat. But then they have like the box up on the screen, so I don't know if it's like for aura points or something, like vibe points or some shit. Like I have no idea. Like why do this live if you're not gonna have any interaction for the medium? Like you can just do it as a video then at that
It's
point.
a cover. Did you guys hear about that guy that did that? He faked a live stream and committed a murder. And he kept
Oh, I
saying,
saw that.
yeah. And he was
Yeah.
like, "Sorry, I can't interact with chat today, guys. There's something wrong with my."
And then
I
he
watch
went
a lot of
live
true
and
crime
just played the
videos.
video of him
Yeah,
doing whatever.
yeah,
And yeah,
yep. That was
but
his cover because he's like, "No, I was on a YouTube live," or whatever it was, but
gotta do a little
so
better than
that's
that.
why.
But still got caught though.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking Christ. I remember seeing um or hearing you say something a while back about how you do play instruments or something. You play like a little piano or something, or you dabbled in something at one point. Like what's your musical history?
Um, I grew up when I was a young lad. I had took piano lessons. I quit playing piano probably around the time I was like 14, 13, 14. I played and took guitar lessons um, right before I joined the military, essentially. So like 16, 17.
I
I
had no
played
idea you were in the military.
played guitar, and then I joined the military shortly after I turned 18. I graduated when I was 17, and 'cause my birthday's in October. So I was 17 and a half when I graduated, turned 18 in October, was, in boot camp 6 months later, is how that turned out. So, um, so I played guitar for the majority of my adulthood. I don't think that I'm good. I can play chords. I know a little bit about playing guitar. Um, and obviously, like, I've messed around with basses, like, when they're around or at friends' houses who played bass and stuff like that. So it's very similar to like playing, like, I guess, like rhythm guitar. So it's one of those things where I feel like if I wanted to learn how to play bass, I probably could figure it out. You know what I mean? I could probably practice and probably learn. But I also am really actually heavily interested in trying to learn how to play the drums. I feel like when it came to piano, they taught me how to read sheet music. They taught me music theory. They taught me all that kinds of stuff. So I learned all of that learning piano. And when I learned guitar, my guitar teacher, he had like his like master's degree in like music, like education and all that kinds of stuff too. So like he could play like I think like 16 instruments or something like that. But he asked me on the first lesson, he goes, "So what do you want to learn?" And I was like, "Well, I just want to learn how to play." And he's like, "Well, what do you want to learn how to play?" He's like, "You want to learn about like, theory and scales and all that." And I was like, he's like, "I just want to just like, learn how to play songs." And I was like, "Well, I just more or less want to learn how to play songs." And he's like, "You ever heard of tabs?" And I was like, "No." And he goes, "Eh, what do you think about this?" And I was like, "That seems legit." So like, let's just learn how to read tabs. So basically, he taught me how to like learn how to play anything on guitar through learning how to like read tabs, essentially. So that was my guitar learning experience. But I never really like ever had a teacher or like never sat down for a drum lesson. And that's kind of like the next thing that I kind of want to experiment with my life, I think, is I want to somewhat get taught how to play the drums. Does that make sense? I'm like, because I've always loved the instrument, but I also feel like I'm one of those people that I need lessons for at least a little bit to teach me like the foundations of. I need a drummer to say, "Hey, dog, you want to know how to read music theory, or you want to know how to play whatever tabs are for drums?" You know what I'm saying? So, I need that kind of level of an instruction, I think, in order to kind of pick up the drums. But that's kind of like the next chapter, I think, in my music knowledge of like where I want to go is because I'm like I have an electric kit that I fuck around with every once in a while. You know what I mean? So because it's quiet and it's not the investment of the loud noise of a real drum kit. So, but I just need to like take lessons. I think or like. Some people have told me that, "Oh, go through Drumeo." I'm like, but is that really like what? There's so much I feel like complexity of what's going on. Oh, pay $6,000 and you'll learn from the best six drummer in the world or whatever. And it's like, I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm like, is that really going to get me where I want to go? Or do I just need to go find some fucking guy at Guitar Hero that knows what he's doing? You know what I mean?
I'm the same way. Like, I have a hard time if I'm trying to like learn something. I can watch YouTube tutorials, I can whatever, but that doesn't stick to me. Like, what I need somebody either right with me or physically talking to me to like walk me through things. And I learn that way much better than just like looking up and watching videos. That sounds like maybe that's the same for you. It benefits you to have
I
somebody
need a
walk
drill
you through it.
instructor over my head. I need him to smack my wrist every time that it's like, no, on the two. You know what I mean?
God damn it.
What was that
Well,
movie
yeah,
with
'cause
that Whiplash or whatever?
Whiplash,
I was
yeah. Are you rushing or are you dragging?
haven't seen it.
Are you rushing? Are
Oh,
you
you
dragging?
should. It's good.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
what
That's great.
that's
Great
what
movie.
every competitive musician had to go through. That's what I had to go through at least. So I fucking
Basically.
fuck, that shit was
Would have
so
played a
good.
symphony or not? You know what I mean?
I used to do competitions in like high school and stuff, middle school when I first started playing, and it's all that kind of. It's like the military for music in a way. It's weirdly comforting in a very stressful way to just get your shit beat in by a fucking old dude to be like, "Are you rushing? Are you dragging?" Fucking Christ, that's interesting. You never wanted to do like band stuff. You never wanted. Have you ever done band stuff, or you just kind of like?
I guess I was always one of those dudes where I never felt like I was good enough to ever do any of that shit. You know what I mean? I
Oh,
never
I'm
felt like I
dumb
was
as
a good.
hell, dude, and I'm out here
I
trying to do
never
stuff.
felt
So.
like I could play guitar that good. You know what I mean? I never felt like I would. I never really ever had the opportunity, or never really like no one ever like knocked on the door, be like, "Hey, dog, like you want to pick up bass and like learn how to play bass in our band?" Like, I've never had that moment. Does that make sense?
True.
So
Well, you got
again, like
what is it?
teenager, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't really know anybody that was in band. Everybody was in high school band. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
True.
they were in high school band, and then I joined the military so fast. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I didn't really spend a lot of time around a lot of that scene until I was meeting idiots who play guitars at house parties. You know what I mean?
Them. Yep.
Like the aspiring acoustic musician. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
I actually okay. So I knew an aspiring acoustic musician, but he was the best guitar player ever. He recently killed himself just a couple years ago, but he was actually one of those campfire guitar players that I would sit and listen to. And I would literally sit up with him like till 3 in the morning being like, play this on guitar. And then he would just and I'd be like, okay, now play this. And he would like listen to it and then he would play it. And I'd be like,
Oh shit, an
it
actual
was
musician. Fuck. Hold up.
yes, he
He
was
knows
an
more than
actual
4 chords.
yeah, he was amazing, but
Yeah, the first one I met was not that guy. We called him BDK, and his name that stood for Big Drunk Kyle. So it was not the same guy at the campfire where it was like, BDK, please play this one now. Like it was
my
not.
God.
It was like, BDK, shut the fuck
shut
up.
the fuck
Put
up.
that
Before we
fucking
break the
banjo
guitar
down.
over your fucking head, bro. Like, and put
God
some
damn
slush
it.
on, fucking hippie. Come on now. Come on.
That's so funny.
That's so fucking good. That's so
Did
funny.
you always want to be in the military or what if is that something you are comfortable talking about?
Where branch you going? As a drill instructor is just scratching an itch I didn't know I had. Just thinking about you walking around just yelling at people with one of those fucking crazy
You
ass
have no
hats.
idea how much I wanted to be a drill instructor. I wanted to be one terribly. If I would have stayed in past my 6 years, I would have probably had tried everything I could to have been a drill instructor. I wanted to be a drill instructor from the time I went through boot camp. I didn't want to do it when I first went in, but the time I went through it, I was like, "This shit is for me, fam. I would totally do that shit." Um,
I feel like you have
my
the
dad,
wit for it too. I feel like a lot of drill instructors, you need to be like sharp, but you also need to have just a bunch of witty shit. Every time I see
man,
drill instructors or no
I
drill
was
instructors, they're always just kind of like over the top, fucking crazy comments out of nowhere type of people, and they're just yelling.
So Johnny, right? Yeah.
I but trust me, man. My wit was, especially when I was in the military, it was sharp because you will get gotten if you can't get caught slipping. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to be on it, or else they'll be on you. You know what I mean? So, especially my days in the military, man, I was ready to go at any moment in time. If like you want to throw something in my direction, I had a couple of shots for you, like lined up. You know what I mean? Um, um, I would definitely say it was not always my goal to end up in the military. Um, my dad spent 20 years in the Air Force. My grandfather served in the Navy. My uncle, both of them were in the Air Force. And so my dad and his middle brother both spent careers Air Force, and his youngest brother did the one enlistment and out, like my grandfather, their dad did. Um, so when it came time for like me to figure out what the hell I wanted to do with my life and all that kinds of shit, I looked at college as an opportunity. I didn't really feel like I knew a lot about it at the time. I kind of got pushed into some directions that I didn't really want to go in, so I kind of ended up joining the military and kind of ran with that. Um, the reason why I chose the Air Force specifically was because I had watched my dad basically have a pretty good time for about 20 years in the military. You know, his time and my time were not the same thing. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what one person's experiences is never the next person's. And um, because of the career field that I was in, I was pretty much locked into that kind of position where it was you're doing this or you're not doing anything else. Like you're going to separate. It's kind of weird the way the government works this way, where they'll spend $1 million on you, the asset, to train you on all these things. And if you say, hey, Seth, I don't want to do this anymore. I would want to go cross train and go be a drill instructor. I want to be a drill instructor and teach people in BMT. They say, no, you're this thing. You can't cross train. Well, if you don't let me do that, then I'm just going to separate. Well, then bye. So they would rather
What
you
the
just leave
fuck? That's why they spend so
than
much goddamn money every year. They're just fucking dumb.
they would rather you just leave and then call your bluff of like, okay, you're going to either do that or you're not going to be here. Is kind of essentially what it was.
Wow.
Because I was in a critically command career field. So like they're like, you can't leave this unless you go to something else that's critically manned, right?
Oh.
That's all politics, right? It's the same thing where it's like, oh, well, no, you can't do that either. So unfortunately joined and signed up for a career field that I didn't realize I was never going to be able to get out of. You know what I mean? So like, it was, you're doing this or you're doing nothing else. That's what I said. I wanted to be a drill instructor. I really, really wanted to. It didn't matter what kind of career I had. It didn't matter who I knew, that I would have been having to save the president's life or some shit in order to get out of the situation that I was in, essentially. I would have had some real favors that would have had to get pulled in order for me to get to anywhere I wanted to go, because I exhausted every avenue that I had trying to get into anything else to stay in the military, because I didn't necessarily want to get out. You know what I mean? I just didn't want to stay where I was.
That's so
Um,
crazy. Like you'd think
Oh.
being in like the military as itself, to me, I feel like it should just be like a min-max machine, right? It's like we want to be as effective as possible and not spend 18 quadrillion dollars on fucking whatever. Like I feel like that's like step one of being efficient, is allowing people to be like, hey, I'm very interested in this. I would be good at this. Let me do this. And then okay, like if you were able to just slot everyone into their fucking thing, then I feel like it would be way more fucking effective. You'd have people that stayed on longer. You'd spend less money. But I guess like if you spend less money, then they don't get money. It's the whole fucking American meme thing where it's like, oh, you didn't use the budget, so you got less budget this year.
I think the thing that I tell people probably the most when it comes to the idea of what it's like being a military member and being a civilian is when you go through boot camp, you no longer have a voice. Your opinion doesn't mean a goddamn thing to anybody. So again, like you said, like, well, it would just make sense if you fit for this, then we'll just work with you. Your opinion doesn't fucking matter, bro. We taught you in boot camp that you shut the fuck up and you do exactly what we tell you to do. It doesn't matter how much logic you have to bring to the table. It's not how this works. Does that make sense?
I feel
That's
like,
why the
yeah, I feel
military
like that makes sense for like
does.
infantry and like stuff like that with like rank and file stuff. But then once you get into specialty stuff, I'm talking like especially like specifically like speciality things. Like I feel like there's so many very specific roles and jobs where it's like you want someone to be good at this thing to make sure it functions. But then if you're not allowing these people to figure out like what they're good at, once they're like not just point and shoot people, then you'd be way more effective at doing things. Like, if I went into the military and I was like, they were like, "Hey, you're gonna build radio towers in fucking Korea." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And I do that, and I'm like, "You know what? I think I would be better fucking making the radio towers instead of building them." And then if I were able to transfer into that and then make the radio towers and then be efficient, more cost effective, better, it's like there's like what's the downside to that kind of thing? Like if I'm just an infantry guy or if I'm just whatever the fuck, like sure, like there's no room really if you have like a singular task. There needs to be like mass amounts of them, like sure, but I don't know. That's so crazy to me because I used to work in hotels. I've talked to a lot of older dudes that would come through that'd be like, "Oh, I was in like the Korean War or I was in whatever the fuck." Like I feel like they had very similar situations where they're like, "Oh, they made me do this thing for X amount of years and I fucking hated it and I left." Or they made me do this thing and then it actually wasn't that bad, so I just stayed, I stuck it out. And then they'd be really interested in something else or they, "Oh, I had a buddy that this one old guy used to build radio towers in Korea. That's why I just used that." He was like fucking 80 something, 90 something when he came through and he was talking to me about it. He goes, "Oh yeah, they'd ship us out in these little fucking biplanes and we'd build radio towers for communication for America, like when we're doing stuff just out and anywhere. They'd drop a big ass fucking load and we'd parachute in and build these fucking towers so that they could ping the fucking radio signals around or whatever the fuck." And he fucking hated it, so he got out. But his buddy wanted to do something else, but they wouldn't allow him. They were just basically like, "You're a radio guy. What do you mean? Why do you want to do this other thing?" Like, so I'm like, what the
Yeah,
fuck? So they both left, and it's like, brother, I don't know.
that's why. That's why I think that no matter which branch you go through, if you're a United States service member, it doesn't matter which branch you go through. Your boot camp is all similar in very much ways where you, the individual, get stripped down. Now, all of a sudden, you become you, the asset, and you, the asset, is you're a radio guy. I don't give a fuck what else you
Yeah,
have developed based on this knowledge. You do this for us. I don't care what else you think, and that's kind of more the difference of how the military is structured versus like how really I guess like really any other kind of business or anything else really would be structured in America, right? Is capitalism is all about getting to that bottom line and making that dollar grow more, right? So if we can
true.
look for more efficiency, we're going to look for those reasons. Military, we're not really looking for more efficiency because we've already made you efficient. You
Yeah,
see what I'm
you're
saying?
hitting the minimum line type of thing. I
Yeah,
look at
So
too many
I
things like a true. I look at too many things as like a video game sim, like a sim game. Like if like especially at like hotels, for example. I was like, if this was a fucking game that I was playing and I was able to see all the stats and all the other stuff, like how would I approach it in a way where I would be able to get XYZ? I kind of think of it the military in the same way. Like if I have 20 people and I'm able to see their stats and what they're good at, I would try to fucking prioritize people that were good at certain things. If this guy can snipe, I'm not gonna put him in a fucking janitor position. Like I'm an idiot. I'd rather put him in a fucking sniping position type of thing. That's just kind of
but
my
can
mindset.
I got a couple questions just from listening, sorry. So you said you like you chose kind of without knowing that you were going into a role that you couldn't get out of. Did you like pick this role thinking, "Ooh, I think I would like that," and then after the fact realize you couldn't get out, or do they assign you different
So,
things?
so, so when you go to talk to the recruiter, if you haven't done it like through like, depending on which state you live in, sometimes I think that people take like the ASVAB test like as part of like the SAT programs in like public education a lot of times, depending on the state again. So I know back in certain time frames, like everybody would take the ASVAB so that way you kind of had a score, but I don't think it's that same way anymore. So like when you go take that aptitude test, once they get your scores back, they kind of basically say, okay, like these are all the positions that you qualify for based on your scores. And they set it up into like, I think it's 4 different categories. So it's like general, electrical, mechanical, and then like administrative. It might be different now, but this is how it was at the time that I was going through it. So, if you score really high and let's say mechanical, that means you probably came from a family that maybe all you guys ever did was work around cars. You know what I mean? Or you're like a huge car buff. You know what I mean? So you know a lot about how motors work. Your scores over here are gonna really show that. So we're gonna push you on fixing planes. You know what I mean? So for me, my scores were kind of over here, but like in the general and the administrative, they were higher, right? So they said, you know what is good for you, bro? Because you're a smart one. They said that you're a smart cookie, Johnny. They said, you want to be an Intel geek? And I said, what's that? They're like, it's like some James Bond shit. You know what I mean?
You're like, fuck yeah.
They told me it's like, you're not going to be James Bond, but you know how the guys that are like in the movies that like get all the information for James Bond? That's what you're going to do. That's what you're going to do. And we need smart people to do that shit because you got good scores. And I was like, okay.
I cheated, but okay. No.
Okay, you're not going to put a gun in my fucking hand. I'm not going to be on the front line. Cool, whatever. We'll figure it out, right? Didn't really know what Intel meant. My dad didn't really know what Intel meant either. What his experience with meeting Intel people, he was like, those guys always seem cool. They always seem like they enjoyed their jobs. Like, he never really met a guy who didn't really like being an Intel. And I tell people all the time, my particular experience is not the experience that every Intel person gets. So it doesn't matter what career field you get into. You never know you never know what deployment you're going to get attached to. You never know what's going to happen on that deployment. You never know. I went on 2 deployments. One was the bad one. One was the one where it was like, bro, I could have been, drunk this entire time. I could have been just chain smoking cigars, and it was a piece of cake. You know what I mean? It was the easiest deployment I've ever been on. But it's not every experience. Like I said, it just what unit you get attached to. What are you really doing within that unit? What kind of intel are you gathering for these units? Like, it's one thing being an intel guy for a pilot who you're obviously not going to be in the plane. You're going to be in the fighter jet with them. So you're going to be on the ground
there's
here.
A mountain to your right.
Yeah. Let's look at those weapon systems. Like,
pilot just blindfolded, relying on you for everything.
God damn it.
Fuck. Okay,
well,
and then
you're fighting the enemy.
So
I'm back in my dorm room.
My next question was, you said okay, so you served 6 years.
Correct.
Was that the end of that role? If you chose to stay, could you then have switched to another role? Or if you chose to stay, would you have still been there?
Options would have been to go into like another branch.
Okay.
Like basically just try to go to another branch, and then you would probably get pushed in a lot of the same career field kind of direction because we were over there, so we'll be into over here, right? So
okay,
it's kind of like James Bond, but
James Bond, but we're really like James Bond over here.
This time, instead of a plane, you're piloting, or you're giving intel to the ship captain, so you gotta look out for the icebergs and stuff.
It's a completely different experience, bro.
Totally different.
And honestly, the intel community, it's all the same group anyway, right? We're all sharing information because we're all America. You know what I mean? Yeah. So what our naval guys are doing over here and what their pilots are doing, they need to know what my pilots over here are doing. You know what I mean? And vice versa. So we also got to talk to them, and it's all connected anyway. So if you're in that world, you're in that world essentially. Even if you're, a contractor or a government contractor, like, you're going to be in the same small spaces of it's only so many companies and there's only so many people with clearances and there's only so many people that even do this kind of work. So it's really difficult to get out of. It's very much like a very non-transferable job to the outside, unless you want to go be, again, just throw on a tie now and a little suit, and then you walk into the same building and you just play the same game on a computer next to the guy who wears uniform. Unless you want to do that, there's not really anything for you to transfer on the outside, really kind of hey, this is what I did for the military and now it's going to help me over here. You know what I mean?
I can tell you a fuck ton about mountains, dude. They're fucking peaky. Hell yeah, dude. Look, one right there. See? Fuck.
So, when you're what they call a first term, like your first enlistment, they offer certain things where it's guaranteed this, guaranteed that. So it's some of the perks to try to keep you in. So it's as a first termer, we're gonna guarantee that if you put up for 5 cross-train positions, we'll cross-train you. This is where the loopholes of unless you're critically manned comes into place. So all those first term, I'm supposed to be guaranteed, but not for you because you're in a very particular bucket that, sorry, unfortunately, not everybody can get these benefits because you got this one particularly. So unless I wanted to go be a cop, which I was never going to do, that's about the only thing I probably could have done to stay. Was I could have went and been security forces, but I was deployed, so I didn't want to do what security forces did.
Your body cam videos would have been fun to watch, though.
Welcome back.
I would have been on. We got another fucking criminal here.
I'm telling you, my interactions would have been probably pretty hilarious with people. They would have got on me for letting everybody go. You know what I mean? They would have got me for letting everybody go. I'd be so easy on everybody. All right, bro. I know I caught you doing over whipping around that old lady back there, but you're gonna get somebody killed, motherfucker.
I wouldn't personally do that, but I guess some people would. So carry on.
My favorite song. Yeah. And I see what you did. You know what I mean? I see what you did.
I don't really like robbing people, but
Johnny, there's no quota, but your quota's low. What's going on here, bud?
Oh my god.
My dad's a cop. Yeah, he has some fucking crazy stories.
They had us do this thing where it was called gate guard, where they have so many people come out and you help from 6 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock during the busiest time in the morning, trying to help get everybody through the gates, right? Just checking IDs and you're helping security forces get through the process. So we're all lined up in the morning. We're all looking like a bunch of idiots, and they're all back there with their guns, just chilling. You know what I mean? Doing their security forces thing, and we're all just out there in our little vests, looking all stupid. Checking IDs. They would tell us, it doesn't matter who comes through here. If the base commander comes through here and his ID is expired, you pull him over. And I was like, okay, fam, okay. People would try you. They would try you. They would tell you. They show up with their little thing on their collar, right? Oh, you can't really see it. It's black. They'd have their little something glowing right there, and they'd be like, "Which unit do you work for, Airman?" I'm like, "Yeah, just have a good day, sir. Get on this base."
Fuck Eddie. Fuck next. Fuck Eddie.
Security, get out. I don't want you to call my commander. Yeah, get it all figured out over there, and you'll get your ID, right? Right? I trust you.
God damn it.
Oh man, I remember the one when they were training us to do this, and they gave us that whole spiel, doesn't matter who it is, they're gonna tell you, and they would, and if you talk to any cop in security forces, they will tell you some commander somewhere that tried pulling rank on them at the gate, because the biggest thing that they have problems with is people coming through drunk driving. So if you drink it all and drive through that gate and those cops smell it, they're pulling you over. They are. So again, when you got brass on your collar, you start thinking the rules don't apply to you anymore, right? Well, I only had one beer. It don't matter to those security forces. I smell alcohol on your breath. Like you're getting pulled over. You know what I mean? Like I got all night, bro. I'm 12 hours and I'm bored
Yeah.
at this gate. So
We're gonna
do
search you, dude. We'll find that beer somewhere.
It's that much more exciting for me because you're a colonel. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you were an airman, it'd be boring. You know what I mean? Of course, we're gonna find a bottle of Burnett's in the back of your car.
I saw this fucking Reddit thread a couple of weeks ago about so one of those security dudes, and he pulled over the base commander or whatever the fuck, and he was drunk and cheating on his wife, and he he pulled him over on base. It wasn't like a gate situation. He like pulled him over because he was like driving recklessly, and he like walked up to the window and he saw his base commander. He goes, "All right, how do you want to do this? How do you want to play this? Like, what the fuck are we doing here?" He's like, "You're drunk as fuck. I gotta take your keys, but like, no. I'll just keep them. You come by tomorrow. You fucking pick them up." And that's what happened. Commander came in the next day, called out him specifically or whatever in front of everyone, and fucking gave him like I don't know. He gave him like a fucking combination or some shit. He's like, "This is the best motherfucker here." Blah 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 blah. I was like, God damn, dude.
That's the politics of the military, baby, right there. Where it's like, again, like, you know, if you want to rub elbows, the military kind of teaches you how to do it too, because that's kind of the difference too with like the officer community versus the enlisted community. Is you see how there's differences in how people get treated based on if you got rank on here or if you got rank on your sleeves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and stuff like that is that prime example of like, well, sometimes the enlisted guy has nothing better to do than to fuck you over just because we know you're in the wrong here, sir. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we can get you for it today. You know what I mean?
Here.
But you know, some people they're that scared or that worried where it's like even just the threat of like, who's your first sergeant? Like they're like, have a good day, sir. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they don't even want the
They don't want the smoke.
So
I wonder how other military, like, do you think other countries' military work in like a similar fashion? Probably do in most capacities, but I feel like if you're in a smaller country with a smaller military, then you'd have to be a little bit more effective with your choices. I feel like if you want to have like a impactful or threatening or defensive military versus just being America and being like, oh, we have like a gazillion people. We can just zerg you. Like we can just rush 1,000,000 people into your fucking backyard type of situation.
Do you guys have any idea how many people of our population actually make up for the armed forces members?
I don't think so. No. I saw a statistic recently that said that um enlistments are like in a fucking free fall right now. Like no one is joining military.
Less than 1% of the population it's always been less than 1% has made up the armed forces. So every military member of our entire country is less than 1% of our population. Wow. So that's a lot of people. But again, you're talking about global superpower, United States of America, right? Where the only other countries that are going to have, those kind of numbers and powers are going to be like China, Russia, where they're just massive countries. You know what I mean? The amounts of population where, if you're even Iran, right? Or even North Korea, the population is not even that many. So like their percentage of their population versus the members. Higher. Right. So even for us, when we're still like at maybe the lowest numbers we've ever had, we've always been less than barely a fraction of our population.
Yeah.
And so that's our entire pool of people that we're pulling from now.
You just overwhelm people.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right now, 1% of the American population is 3.5 mil. So at least 3.5 million people. Fucking crazy, dude. They draft half of America for something. Jesus. You can just take over the fucking world. People are dumb. We should just we're never gonna get into like a type 1 civilization with all this fucking dumb shit, I feel like. All I want to do is go to space. Let us go to space. Stop yelling at each
Boo!
other. Who the
I want
fuck
to go to space.
cares? Let's get type 1 and let's go to fucking Mars. Build a base on fucking Mars, dude.
We'll be the first band on Mars. Woo!
Yeah. Fuck.
That'd be your exclusive. You'll be the first band on the new planet, new populated planet of Mars.
We can say we have the
forgot-
most fans in the world, but it'll be like
Mars
5 because
Miamorii.
there'll be 5 people on Mars with us.
I know before Elon went fucking insane, he was trying to
Boy,
get
did
to
he have a
Mars.
quick race, bro. Man, he was kind of on the top of the world until all of a sudden he decided to get involved in politics, and all of a sudden his stock went. Like people
That's
have
a
a
weird
whole
one.
different opinion about him now.
I get so excited about rocket launches and stuff. I really like space stuff. And a lot of the big, like when they first launched like Falcon Heavies and stuff, and they first reused fucking fuel capsules and stuff when they were able to land them on themselves on the barges and shit to reuse all that stuff. So fucking sick. I know his initial idea was I think it was 2025, but I guess now it's 2026. SpaceX is sending crews or uncrewed automated shit to Mars to start building infrastructure for manned flights. So I guess it's still in the works, but not as hyped up. Fuck. He wants to build a fucking moon base too, instead of launching rockets off of Earth. Way easier launch it off the fucking moon. Imagine getting slingshotted off the fucking moon.
Have you guys seen the movie Stowaway? I think it's called. It's about that. It's so like a space mission to Mars. I think they're going to Mars. And the ship was originally built for 2 people, but then they like made it so there could be 3 people. Well, then after they launched, they realized there was another guy in the ship that he was like working on it, and then he like got hurt somehow, knocked out, and they didn't know he was on the ship until they're in space. So then there's only enough oxygen for 3 people. Oh, it's so fucking good. And it's not a movie that I would ever pick to watch either. I normally put on horror movies. Like that's the only movie that I will ever seek out and watch is a horror movie. But Clayton picked it one night and I was like, it's so fucking good.
Yeah, I fucking
So
love
fucking
that
good.
stuff. I haven't seen it. I'll have to put it on my list.
You just started speaking my language there, Rena. So
horror movies.
I just watched Weapons yesterday.
Can you give me one good horror movie that you've come across in the last handful of months? Like at least one that you. It didn't have to be new, just a good one.
A good one. Okay. Maybe. Okay, I the one that sticks out to me is kind of weird. It's called Lake Mungo, and it's not like you don't watch it and think, "Oh, holy shit, this is scary." There's not like jump scares, but the way they made this fucking movie, it almost looks like a documentary. Like there's like people talking to the camera and they're explaining like this girl went missing and then they found her body and they're trying to figure out how she died. And oh my god, it's like heartbreakingly sad, and the themes of the movie are like scary because there's like ghosts and stuff, but holy fuck. That movie, I watched it not going into it at like I read nothing about it. I didn't know what it was about, and I watched it and I was like blown away. So then I had to show Clayton and he was like, "Oh, that was pretty good." So that's what I recommend. But, it was just cool. I thought it was amazing. I guess Sinister is always that's a good movie. I like that one a lot. What the fuck else? You watched one
fucking Haunting of Hill House. Those
that's
fucking ones.
fucking
Those shit's
goated,
fucking
yeah.
insane.
Yeah, dude, the bent neck lady. That one had me literally screaming. I was like, "Oh my god, no!" That was good.
That's me every time I watch a horror movie. I'm like, all right.
You guys need to watch Deadstream. Deadstream. It's a roller coaster of emotions. I was gagging at one point. I was crying because I was laughing so hard, and I was hiding behind my hands because I was so scared. All in the same movie.
A washed-up internet personality tries to win back his followers by live streaming himself spending one night in a haunted house.
It is so fucking funny. Like, it was so good. Yeah,
I get fucking the things that get me with horror movies is the jump scares. That's the shit that the anticipation, and then I get in my head too much with them, and then so the jump scares just fucking kill me. So
we watched one called Oddity, I think it was, just recently because Clayton said he read that, it's gotten praise for having one of the best jump scares ever, and so we were watching it to, like, see, and it was pretty good. I liked the storyline a lot, and the jump scare, I think there was one. Well, no, there was a couple, but there was only one that was, like, that I think was what they were talking about, because you didn't see it coming, which normally with a jump scare, you can kinda like, they do the music,
yeah,
it's either loud and then it gets quiet and then but this wasn't anything like that, so that was cool, and the storyline was cool, and the visuals were creepy, and
the dude on the cover of Oddity looks fucking nuts.
is it yeah, it was Oddity then.
There was one jump scare in Weapons yesterday that I didn't see coming, and I about fucking died. About
Talk to
went to the
Me
fucking
fucked me
moon.
up. When I saw Talk to Me in the theater with my little brother, and I was like there was one that got me so bad I, like, screamed and, like, ducked over into his shoulder. I was like, "Oh my god."
I have this
But
core memory. You ever watch it's like Record, REC? Why is my caps lock on? It came out 2007. It's kind of similar to fuck, what was that other one?
VHS or something like
Here, I'll link the
Creep, maybe? Creep is good.
it was Spanish.
Oh.
I think it was supposed to be like Paranormal
Ooh.
Activity
Oh, okay.
type of vibe, but I saw that in the movie theater 2007, and there was this big lady next to me who were watching it, and I remember fucking screaming and then hiding into her armpit. This lady I didn't know, and she was screaming and I was screaming and my fucking head was in her armpit, just yelling.
That's so cute.
Fuck.
What
Jump
about
scares
you?
get
Do you have a
me.
favorite horror movie, Johnny? Or a couple of favorites, or
I would say probably I got three answers for you, and they're all quick. My favorite series, I would probably say, is a Saw series.
Mm.
Um, my favorite, I would say, it's got to be at the top of my list right now, just in terms of like my favorite overall horror movie. I love the movie Midsommar.
Oh, that's
I
so
think
good.
Yeah, it's just dope.
it's just like fantastic in every way.
Yeah.
And I would say probably my one of my more recent favorite movies that I've seen that really, really surprised me in terms of the horror genre was been the movie The Menu. Have you ever seen
Oh,
The
Oh
Menu?
yeah,
that
that
is
shit's
so
so
good.
dope. It's so
That shit
dope.
was
Yeah.
good. That shit was so good because it's not a traditional horror movie, but
Yes.
it gives you like all those kind of like Midsommar, where like it makes you feel anxious the whole time
Yeah.
to figure out like what's happening here. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that was probably one of the ones that in terms of like the last couple of years that I watched that I was like, man, this was actually like really good. I should put people onto this movie if they ever ask. But that's probably the one that comes to my mind. Like off the rip is probably The Menu.
That's a good
Um,
one.
Yeah, that was
I
really
watch a
good.
lot of ones that are like never really that good, but you've seen them like 1,000 times, where you see the same storyline played out and like over and over again. So,
Yeah.
um,
That's why I again, I'm gonna recommend Lake Mungo because it was just so fucking good, and you don't see, and it just left me with this horrible feeling, which I love horrible feelings, and it was just like, "Holy fucking shit." It hit me real hard, I guess is what I'm saying.
it's Australian psychological horror. Yeah, anything psychological. When they add the word psychological to horror,
That's my
I
bag,
typically
baby.
throw that in there. Throw that in there. Throw it in
Yeah.
there for sure.
I love, like, the demon, ghost, psychological horror, I love that stuff, I love thriller stuff. I'm not a huge gore person. Like Saw can't do it. I can't fucking do it.
Something about that storyline just speaks to me, though. I
It's a
love.
cool storyline.
It's not.
For sure.
It's for me. It's not even about the gore. It's about like the puzzle, how it all connects together. I'm like, why is he
Yeah.
picking these people, and how does that tie together with this part of the storyline? And it's that last 3 minutes of each one of those movies where like they start playing the music and they're
Together or
getting the
whatever.
explanation of like the whole movie, where it's like, this is why I chose you today. You know what I mean? Like, that last little like ending scene of every Saw is like, it was like the part I was like waiting for. I was like, was I right or was I wrong, or how are we going to tie this all together? So that's why I love those, because I'm like, there's so many parts of those movies where I'm like, I gotta close my eyes because I'm like, I don't want to see that shit. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to see it. I don't want to.
That's
I don't
like,
want to see like the torture part of it.
yeah, that was like Sinister for me. Like all like the what do they call him, Mr. Boogie or whatever? He's like, or Bagool. I can't remember. It's yeah.
Fucking Babadook.
No, I do
Oh,
like that one though. But it's Bagool, I think, is the demon's name in Sinister, but the kids call him like Boogeyman or Mr. Boogie or something. I can't fucking remember. But like, have you guys seen Sinister?
I think so.
I think I can
Oh,
have.
it's so good. It's so good. It has a very cheesy jump scare at the end that they could have done without, but it's so good. The second one, shit. Second one is shit. The first movie, so good. It's about this author who he writes stories about like murders that have taken place, and then he's like
With the
kind of
projector.
like a washed up author or whatever, and then he's trying to get back into the scene, so he picks this recent murder and tries to investigate it, and it turns out it's this fucking demon, and then he gets wrapped up in it. It's so fucking good. But
I
there's a lot of
like
scenes where I was
that
like,
shit.
"Oh, I don't want to see that."
I
And
can
the
deal with
score,
fucking paranormal stuff. It's kind of rough sometimes when
yeah.
it
It
hits
used
you.
to terrify me, but now I quite enjoy it.
I
So,
can deal with gore stuff. I like gory things. I feel
yeah.
like, especially when from like a practical standpoint, it's like cool to see how they achieve certain things, and make things look more crazy.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really bother me. I grew up on the fucking internet, so fucking eating Chipotle, watching crazy ass fucking 4chan videos. It's just like an average Tuesday back in the day. So that shit doesn't fucking bother me. It's literally, for me, it's literally just the jump scares. Like I'll fucking shit myself 30 times in a movie if there's nothing but jump scares. Scream at the top of my
Yeah,
lungs.
anytime that
Damn
I watch
Chipotle.
anything that has like the violent aspect of it, it becomes a movie so quick for me. Where it's like, okay, that's a prop, and we're stabbing him in the head, and we're getting that camera shot. You know what I mean? It becomes a movie so fast when it comes to like the gore side, where
Yeah.
that's how it kind of like it almost like just like snaps me out of the reality of it. I think a lot of times because you want to get lost in the world a little bit. I think that's the part of like watching a movie or a film or a TV show is you kind of get sucked and lost into the fakeness of this false reality that we've created. So a lot of times, like again, when you get stabbed in the eyeball, I'm like, okay, that wasn't a real thing that you saw. It was something that was created. So I'm kind of with you on the jump scares, but the jump scares, I think, if anything, like they normally make me laugh. So if they do get me, I normally respond with some sort of laughter. So like even in like the haunted house situations, I'm that guy where like if they scare me, like I normally laugh because I'm like, oh, you got me. You know what I mean? I think it's just how much I like horror is. I'm the guy who laughs when it's done properly. You know what I mean? Like, if you
Mhm.
really did scare me, it's amusing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm that similar way. I used to not be able to watch horror movies. I wouldn't be able to sleep. I was afraid of the dark, you know what I mean? I couldn't watch a horror movie and then go to bed because I would like be so scared. But I don't get that way anymore. There are times where a movie has creeped me out, or even a book recently. I read this book called The Fisherman, and holy fuck. And I'd read it before, but a long time ago, and then I wanted to reread it because there was, you forget the details and stuff. And I I was reading. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, I gotta pee. So just the very short walk from my bed to my freaking toilet, I was like, oh fuck, like this guy's scared.
True.
I love that feeling. I don't know why. I like the that feeling of being scared, and I think it's because I don't get that way very often anymore, so it's cool when I find something that actually makes me go, "Holy fuck."
I get in
Yeah.
my head too much, I think. Like, when something gets stuck in my head and I just think about it and it just becomes more and more ridiculous as time goes by. That's like how fucking horror movies affect me. Because I'm definitely
Yeah.
one of those people that like can watch a horror movie and like get scared or whatever, but then I get like residually scared later on too, because I'm just in like that mindset of like, fuck, I'm just spooked. So now I'm just like stuck in this fuck. If I walk up the
Yeah.
stairs, there's gonna be fucking something following me. Fuck. But I know that's fucking stupid. And I'm like, why is my body reacting to my brain being like, why are you being dumb? Like, there's fucking nothing there. Like, why are you doing this shit? Then here I am, fucking running, 500-pound man running up the goddamn stairs, just yelling at 2 a.m, being like, ah! So,
Oh my god.
fuck.
Yeah, that was me before Zoloft. I think that's the big thing is Zoloft makes me
This is a Zoloft ad now.
sponsored by
This is
Miamorii,
me
sponsored by
before
Zoloft.
drugs.
No, but it took away all that anxiety. It took away all that residual, like,
This
"Oh,
anxiety
there's
is
a
a good way to
demon in
put it,
my
yeah.
house." Now it's just like I can be scared for a split second while I'm watching the movie or, while I'm walking right after putting the book down to my toilet, but then I don't then it doesn't then it doesn't stay with me anymore. It used to stay with me and I would freak myself out. It doesn't stay with me anymore. I can enjoy that feeling in the moment and then I can let it go. But
I had I don't know where it's at. I was trying to find it while you guys were talking, but there is a VOD of a live stream of me from forever ago playing through Outlast, or at least the first part of Outlast, and it's so fucking it's so stupid, but I can't find it.
oh. Do you have any more questions, Kyle? As much as I would love to keep chit-chatting away, I did tell Allender I would help him with his school project that's due tomorrow. He's got to build a little turkey, and we have to build a costume for the turkey
That's
to
fucking
hide the
adorable.
turkey. Yeah.
Off the dome, no, but if we do, we can just do a fucking another video. Easy. We live in the future.
The future is now.
The future is now. I think it was fun. I think it was cool. I think I want to do more of these types of things in the future. We're trying to find things to do as a band that are fun, but also aren't cringy or too spammy. Because there's a part where you have to put out a gazillion different dumb fucking TikToks and stuff to get any sort of traction anymore. But I want to have some sort of things that we do that are outside. Every handful of months we drop a fucking song or something. Like, I want to do some more other stuff to help with engagement and help with growth and things. So, and then I was like, I want to know more about Johnny. I want to talk to him more. So I was like, let's just make a video. Fuck it. YOLO.
Well, I appreciate y'all for hanging out, inviting me to hang out with you guys today because I feel like I had a lot of fun hanging out with y'all. Like I said, I feel like I talked way too much today, but I mean,
No,
I mean, that's
it was
literally the
good.
point. So easy. Fucking
I
easy.
appreciated the time hanging out with y'all for sure.
If
Mhm.
people have more comments or whatever, or questions, throw them in, and then we'll do round two. We get if people like it, people want more, or if people want to do other things, or maybe us three can go tag team some poor fucker or something. Like, we can do whatever. We could do whatever.
We'll do like a okay, ready, Kyle? Put your hand up.
I don't know. Oh, you're below me on this thing though. You're down
Oh,
here. This is where your head is.
okay, never mind. You're like right there on mine, and then Johnny's. I can't do it. He's next to you on that way.
Yeah, me and Kyle would be doing this on my screen.
Oh, it's so weird.
You guys are just looking like you're trying to get out of a box right now.
Like the Brady Bunch, everybody
Get us
looking
the
up.
fuck out of here. You strapped this in this bitch. Oh, fucking Christ. All right, cool. We don't have an outro.